This is the strategy.
I listen. The
Don't
fact that
ban
Lilat survived.
If you, I know it survived all the way. To
I
the
want
end of
y'all to
Smash.
count the amount of times Lilat just doesn't make it. That poor fucking stage is just gonna die today, all the time. All right, it's time to turn the esports switch on.
Is that your esports switch? See, I just do it all the time. I have to take off
We
my
can't even.
mic to
We
be
honestly
non-esports.
cannot even keep the esports switch too far on because, like I said earlier, we are going right into Snakeee versus NSM BigTorterraBluntZ.
I'm calling him Croak. For all those watching, he is Croak. It's his tag in game.
I am opting to read the name that's on screen, and that is BluntZ, and BluntZ is currently taking the first offense from Snakeee. Now, we know Snakee's a multi-character main. She also has Rosalina and Corrin at her disposal if needed. But I like the Zero Suit pick first. It's going to be able to keep up to speed with Greninja, as well as sort of dictate a bit of the initial momentum.
Yeah, but at the same time, there are some problems for Zero Suit in this matchup. Greninja has a low profile, surprisingly low given his overall size. And Zero Suit in general, it makes her moves are not very long lasting a lot of the time, so she has to be more careful with her movement, which makes her movement more predictable. And I'd really like to see whether or not Croak will be able to exploit that. You know, get some power shields in, possibly sneak in underneath her. And we're getting to the stage right now where there is a lot that BigTorterraBluntZ has to be careful of, whereas Snakeee can sort of maybe fish for the kill a little bit.
She has to be careful, though. Zero Suit fishing for the kill by grab is easily the most dangerous part for Zero Suit through any process of the match. If she whiffs that grab, it's where she's the most vulnerable, but who cares about vulnerability when you can call out a Shadow Sneak like that?
That was amazing. Also getting the timing. There is a little bit of vulnerability before that hitbox comes out. Oh, all right. That might have been a 2-frame. He's not dead from that, though.
Yeah, no.
If he did die, I'd be sad. For, like, I don't know, society.
Just pour one out for the young frog. But he's still got life in him. He can't be dying that quickly. That being said, he does have to put a little bit of work into taking out this stock. And that'll do it.
Yeah, that's such a fantastic just coverage right there. If you're confident your opponent's going to air dodge, you can go down deep like that, charge up your shuriken, and as you see, takes Snakee's stock, and now he is in a lead. Jabs on the side platform, really scary. Will he be able to get a stock from it? Snakee's not in control, but is alive, which is something.
She took a little bit of a beating, but Zero Suit is no stranger to making use of rage that she manages to build up. And being as this is still a relatively low threshold of damage for Zero Suit, Snakee's kind of in like a prime position right now to turn the tables on BluntZ.
But one thing is that the grab, like Zero Suits always know that, oh, grab is, you know, that big chance to make a comeback, but it's so risky. And if he knows about it, I think that might be his game plan. You know, he remembers he's on screen. He knows how to do the footstool stuff.
Remembers to just, you know, side B out of his problems. A good call, though, nonetheless.
No, that was the hurtbox shifting involved in that was actually spectacular. And we are at this stage of the battle, going for a 50-50, but Snakeee gets out of it.
I'm digging her movement right now. She's trying to stay as evasive as possible, and she's calling out the fact that BluntZ is going to go for these moves that just take up a lot of space. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough, and game one is going to go to BigTorterraBluntZ.
Yeah, really good showing there. Starting off the match a little bit weak, but by the end, I feel like there were some real key adaptations. The main thing was his punish game got a lot better. First stock, you know, nickel and dime, but there was one string there that got like 80%, and that was more than half of the entire stock for Snakeee.
You know, with that said, she was doing a good job of, you know, dictating the pace of the match, especially throughout the first stock. I feel like Croak had brought it back much more as he evened the stock count later on in the game, and then was just able to do a better job of doing the nickel and diming, as you were mentioning.
So one thing is, do you think Snakeee will go for the character switch? I actually don't necessarily think that's a good idea, mainly because of the fact that Croak's punish game, clearly very good, and the Rosalina, which is her normal fallback, has a much worse disadvantage. She recognizes that. She's going to be sticking with Zero Suit. Knew it was close. Maybe not. Oh.
You definitely spoke.
Wii Fit Trainer?
No.
Oh, she is going
It's going to be the
Rosalina.
Rosa. Now, while I do personally like Snakeee Zero Suit more than her Rosalina, I feel like this is not a bad character pick. Given how Rosalina can cover lateral space, as well as juggle if an advantage, I feel like that in turn is going to force BigTorterraBluntZ to play in ways that we haven't seen in this particular game. It's a bit more difficult to get away with Nickel and Dining Rosalina. Yeah, she's tall, and she's going to be able to take that damage, but Luma's going to be able to body block a good amount of stuff. She can gravitational pull a lot of the water shuriken pressure away. And if BigTorterraBluntZ struggles to end out the stock and Snakeee gets the initial lead, that's much more dangerous in the hands of Rosalina than Zero Suit.
But one thing you're noticing, so BigTorterraBluntZ is no stranger to this matchup. At NYU, we actually have quite a few solid Rosalinas. He's doing perfect things. Bad DI right there, that nervousness DIing outwards, losing that stock incredibly early. I think that this is what I'm talking about, the punish game. There's a less survivability overall on this Rosalina, and the fact that he's taking care of Luma every second means that being put in disadvantage is that much worse. She loses all of this frame data, all of these escape tools.
Snakee's got a lot of work to do here in just being able to pressure BigTorterraBluntZ. Smashville is all his right now. This is the Frog Pond, and there's no signs of him stopping any of the pressure. Although, having thrown the Water Shuriken in the wrong direction does give Snakeee a little bit of room to breathe. And without a Luma, this could be the opportunity for BigTorterraBluntZ to just end it out right here.
I think that ending it out is also going to be important because when I see Snakeee have room to breathe, I'm reminded of the power that Rosalina has with Rage. Even though Greninja can kind of be hard to kill off the top, we're in a situation now, 70% on Rosalina. Yeah, that's not the end of the world. That's far from the end of the world. Now, basically, TorterraBluntZ has to play around that.
One thing I would like to see more out of Snakeee, though, is go for some of Rosalina and Luma's anti-air options more in approaching. One thing you've noticed out of BigTorterraBluntZ, he's doing a lot of short hopping to start his aggression and his reversal options. If Snakeee accounted for that in her approaches, I feel like this could have been a much smoother game overall, and she could bring this to a game 3.
So one thing about that Snakee's doing, you're right about those anti-air options, she's throwing out a lot more moves, a lot more hitboxes, essentially trying to stuff BigTorterraBluntZ before he can even get anything started. Greninja doesn't do a lot of instant aerials. Usually it's he'll get up in the ground and then get up from the ground and then come down at you with a forward air or a neutral air. And recognizing that, just throwing out more moves puts this pressure onto TorterraBluntZ that's actually, it looks like it could easily swing right back despite that huge lead early on.
Given the percentages at hand, this is, for all intents and purposes, an even match. BigTorterraBluntZ needs to eliminate Luma from the equation as soon as possible.
Yeah, earlier on, it was important to eliminate Luma so that he could, have better time in advantage. But now it's just to get rid of that kill power. Reads the air dodge, but doesn't get it, and bad DI from himself is actually going to cost him that game. We're moving on to game 3. I originally questioned the Rosalina counter pick, but there's a lot of fundamentals to that character, and you could tell that the adjustments she made ended up making that entire comeback just happen.
While Rosalina may not have the agility and the precision of Zero Suit Samus, what she likes in those aspects, she takes up a bit more room. And of course, the presence of Luma does make killing much simpler. So I feel like it was a good pick overall, and we definitely saw that from Snakeee. And one important thing to note, we didn't see a lot of Luma play in that. A lot of that was just her Rosalina, her having to respond to Croak's pressure, her figuring out how to move around and how to just fight back, go for trades, see where she can slip in little hits here and there.
So one thing, though, is I feel like Croak, a.k.a. TorterraBluntZ, it's hard, he, at the beginning of the game, he was taking care of Luma every time. He was like, boom, takes care of Luma with jabs. Boom, takes care with dash attack, forward air. It felt like every time there was that interaction, the star would die. And at the end there, I don't know if you noticed, there was one point where he hit Luma with a shuriken and actually saved her. It's like that same calculated, like, calm, how do I take care of the star, started to disappear as the nervousness racked up. I think that it's important to remember that when you do have a big lead like that and it starts to slip away from you, that really affects your mentality. You can just go on tilt even harder than if you were just like even the entire game.
Indeed. Now, speaking of things that could potentially put on tilt or just in general have an impact on mentality, we've noticed there's been a small little break. Snakeee now coming back to the setup, and it seems like they're determining stage for game 3. see a couple of head nods. If I had to just take a gander at that, it's
Run
maybe
it back.
Run it back.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Smashville. And they're picking into it. And they're not. It's going to be Final Destination.
I mean, yes,
and I like this pick.
That's the thing, is we say, oh, you know, everyone loves Smashville, but Greninja kind of likes FD a lot more. And not wanting to ban the stage, I'm wondering what Snakeee did in fact ban. Possibly Battlefield? Yeah, I think Battlefield maybe.
My guess is one of the tri-plats, just because Greninja excels at being able to pressure off those. And even though the platforms do give Snakeee a bit of a chance to kill vertically, we didn't see any of that, really, in Game 2.
Not only that, but one of Greninja's best tools on this stage has to do with his Shuriken, and that's just a lot less of a factor against Rosa because of that gravitational pull. I'm waiting to see whether we see stock 1 from like Game 2 stock 1 Croak or stock 2 Croak. You know, there are a couple good plays, but also a couple flubs getting over. We've seen a few overextensions here and there. And so as this match goes on, like, momentum is going to matter so much.
I like the desync established by Snakeee, and I'm hoping that she can make good use of it. Trying to operate desyncs with Uma in general is not that difficult, but trying to make it useful against a character as swift as Greninja can be incredibly tricky. That being said, on a stage like Final Destination, the layout is primed for being able to try and take advantage of those ground approaches that we've seen a lot of from BigTorterraBluntZ, as well as trying to just cover multitudes of options.
Every time Greninja Shadow Sneaks, I don't know whether it was on purpose or not. Every single time. The character, of course, has like problems with the way his up B was programmed, and he always is doing technical movement with his Shuriken. And that aggressive option to get back from the ledge, working out really well for Snakeee, and now she has a stock lead, and Rosa with a stock lead.
And
that's
good
something
rage to boot.
Like, that's something that Zero Suit definitely does not excel as much in.
Like Zero Suit, she does it in a different way, I feel. Like, with Zero Suit, of course, she is going, and going. All right.
That was really smart, knowing that getting close to this top of the screen with an up air would just finish it off. Doesn't have to worry about drifting, landing mix-ups, which, you know, sometimes you mess up. Like, we see it all the time. Somebody is, we've all had it happen to us, where somebody's gently drifting down from the sky in complete free fall and just charge a smash attack in the wrong direction.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about any of that unfortunateness here. What we can look at is plenty of damage built immediately up on BigTorterraBluntZ. Snakeee's having none of it. She's going to be ending things out with a 2-1 over BigTorterraBluntZ.
Yeah, and NSM behind Croak. You can see them upset about it, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. He had such a powerful lead in that game too, and it really felt like when he couldn't close out that game, it just sucked all the momentum out of him. I was really questioning the Rosalina pick, but I do think that Rosalina can be a lot more effective at, you know, setting opponents on edge, affecting their mentality than, granted, Zero Suit does that as well, but